Salayudha. Namaste Revati Kanta. Namaste Bhaktavatsala. Obeisances to you, O holder of the plough. Obeisances to you, O wielder of the mace. Obeisances to you, O dear husband and consort of Revati Devi. Obeisances to you, who are very kind to your devotees. Namaste Balinam Sreshta. Namaste Dharanidhara. Pralambari Namastubhyam. Trahi Mam Krishna Bhuvaja. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Balrama, the best of the strong and the support of the earth. Obeisances unto you, O enemy of Pralamba, please deliver me, O elder brother of Lord Krishna. Sri Balbhadra Kavacha Stotra by Pradvipaka Muni from Garga Samhita. Golokadhamadhipati Pareshwaraha Pareshu Mam Patu Pavitra Kirtanaha Bhumandalam Sarva Pavat Vikakshayate Yanmut Nimam Patu Sabhumi Mandale Senashu Mam Rakshatu Shirapani Yuddhe Sada Rakshatu Mam Khalicha Durgeshu Cha Vyanmusali Sada Mam Vaneshu Shankarakshanaadideva Kalindajavegaharo Jaleshu Neelambaro Rakshatu Mam Sadagno Vayau Charamo Vatukhe Balascha Mahanavenantavapu Sadama Shri Vasudevo Patu Parvateshu Sahasrashirsha Cha Mahavivade Rogeshu Mam Rakshatu Rahuneyo Mam Kamapalo Vatuva Vipatsu Kamat Sadarakshatu Dhenukari Krodhat Sadamam Tvivida Prahari Lobhat Sadarakshatu Balbalari Mohat Sadamam Kilamadhari Prata Sadarakshatu Vrishnidhurya Prane Sadamam Mathura Purendra Madhyandine Gopasakha Prapatu Swarat Paranhevatu Mam Sadaiva Sayam Fanindrovatu Mam Sadaiva Parat Paro Rakshatu Mam Pradoshe Purne Nishithe Chadurantavirya Pratyushakale Vatumam Sadaiva Vidikshumam Rakshaturevatipati Dikshu Pralambari Radhoyadudvaha Urdhvam Sadamam Balabhadrarat Tatha Samantat Baladevaevayi अन्तासदव्यात् पुरुषोत्तमो बहिः नागेन्द्रलीलोऽवतु मां महाबलः सदान्तरात्मा च वसन् हरिः स्वयं प्रपातु पूर्णा परमेश्वरो महान् देवासुराणां भयनाशनं च भूताश्चनां पापचयेन्धनानं विनाशनं विघ्नघटस्य वीति सिद्धाशनं वर्मवरं बलस्य. Translation. May Lord Balrama, who is the master of Goloka, who is the supreme controller of all controllers, and whose fame is spotless, protect me. May Lord Balrama, who is his head, who on his head holds the earth as if it were a single mustard seed, protect me in this world. May Lord Balrama protect me when I am surrounded by many enemies. May Lord Balrama, who holds a plow, protect me in battle. May Lord Balrama, who holds a club, always protect me in many fortresses. May Lord Balrama, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, protect me in the forest. May Lord Balrama, who wears blue garments and who stopped the Yamuna, always protect me in fire. May Lord Balrama protect me in the wind, protect me in the sky. May Lord Balrama, who is Lord Ananta himself, always protect me in the great ocean. May Lord Balrama, who is Vasudev's son, protect me on mountains. May Lord Balrama, who has 1,000 heads, protect me in great disputes. May Lord Balrama, who is Rohini's son, protect me from diseases. May Lord Balrama, who fulfills desires, protect me from catastrophes. May Lord Balrama, who is the enemy of Dhenukasura, always protect me from lust. May Lord Balrama, who killed Dvivida, always protect me from anger. May Lord Balrama, who is the enemy of Balwala, always protect me from greed. May Lord Balrama, who is the enemy of Jarasangha, always protect me from illusion. May Lord Balrama, who is the best of the Vrishnis, always protect me at sunrise. May Lord Balrama, who is the king of Mathura city, always protect me in the morning. May Lord Balrama, who is the friend of the Gopas, always protect me at midday. May Lord Balrama, who is supremely independent, always protect me in the afternoon. May Lord Balrama, who is the king of serpents, always protect me at sunset. May Lord Balrama, who is greater than the greatest, always protect me in the evening. May Lord Balrama, whose power is invincible, always protect me in the middle of the night. May Lord Balrama always protect me at every sunrise. May Lord Balrama, who is the master of Revati, protect me from every direction. Who is the enemy of Pralamba, protect me from every direction. May Lord Balrama, who is the best of Yadavas, protect me from below. May Lord Balrama, may Lord Balrama always protects me from above. May Lord Balrama protect me from near and far and from everywhere. May Lord Balrama, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, protect me from within. May the most powerful Lord Balrama, who enjoys pastimes as the King of Serpents, protect me from without. May Lord Balrama, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul residing in everyone's heart, always protect me. Please know that this kavacha of Lord Balrama is the best of armors. It destroys the fears of the demigods and demons. It is a blazing fire that burns up the fuel of a host of sins. It is the death of a host of obstacles. It is the abode of the spiritual perfection. Shri Balbhadra Bhagwan Ki Jai. And now a very quick one by Shri Vrindavan Das Thakur. This is glorifying the expansion of Lord Balrama, Lord Nityananda. Antare nitai, bahare nitai, nitai jagat maya, nagara nitai, nagari nitai, kathaye kaya. Antare nitai, bahare nitai, nitai jagat maya, nagara nitai, nagari nitai, kathaye kaya. साधना निताय भजन निताय निताय नयन तार दशति कमाय निताय सुंदर निताय भुवन भार राधार माधुरी अनंग मंजिरी निताय नितु से सेवे कोटि शशधर वदन सुंदर सख सखी बल देवे राधर भंजिनी श्याम सोहागिनी सेवा सखी गण प्राण जनर लाभारी मंडप सचारी श्रीमनी मंदिर नाम निताई सुंदर युग पीठ धरे रतन सिंहासन सेजे बासन निताई भूषण निताई विलास सखी रमाजे की काही बार निताई सबर आखी मुख सेवांग निताई 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 नुटर रंग निताई बलिया दुबाहु तुलिया छली ब्रजेर पूरे दास वृंदावने आई निवेदन निताई न छडो मोरे निताई बलिया दुबाहु तुलिया छली ब्रजेर पूरे दास वृंदावने आई निवेदन निताई न छडो मोरे अंतरे निताई बाहरे निताई निताई जगत माया नगर निताई नगरी निताई कथाये काया अंतर निताई बाहरी निताई निताई जगत माया नगर निताई नगरी निताई कथाये काया। श्री नित्यानंद भगवान की जय। हरे कृष्ण। Thank you, Prabhuji, for the seva.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much for the nice kirtan. I welcome all the devotees to today's session. I offer my obeisances at the lotus feet of all the Vaishnavas before starting the class. We'll start the class with the invocation prayers. Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasade Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवाञ्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सागन रघुनाथान्वितं तं त्वजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगन ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Now we'll offer our obeisances to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the six Goswamis of Vrindavan. Namo Mahabodhanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Ghorate Sharama. O most magnificent incarnation, you are Krishna himself appearing as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have assumed the golden color of Srimati Radharani and you are widely distributing the pure love of Krishna. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Krishna Varnam Tusa Krishnam Sangopanga Straparsadam Yagge Sankirtana Praye Rejayanti Sumedasa. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. Nana Shastra Vicharana Kaile Gunam Shardharma Samstapako Lokanam Hitakarino Trivana Madhya Saranya Karo Radha Krishna Padara Vindavajana Nanandena Dattalikau Bande Rupa Sanatana Ragujugau Sri Jiva Gopalakau. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis of Vrindavan, namely Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus, they are honored all over the three worlds and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of the divine couple Sri Radha and Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Narayanam Namaskritya, Naram Chaiva Narottamam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam, Tato Jayam Udiret, Nasta Praya Subhadresu, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavati Uttama Sloke, Bhaktir Bhavati Nastiki, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I welcome all the devotees once again to the today's session. Today we will be studying lesson 18 and we will be starting chapter 13. And before we start, let us have the synopsis of lesson 17, which was covered on day 2 of last weekend. Radhavinath Prabhuji, please.
Yeah. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam devotees. Last week, last class, Charu Prabhuji explained the chapter 12 of Jaiva Dharma, which is the lesson 17. The primary highlight of the class was what is the basically final conclusion of Vedas or final goal of goal of Vedas. That was the focus, and how different processes are part of a chain, and we'll see it shortly. Is the karma kanda is the highest, jnana kanda is the highest, or is the bhakti highest? Vedas, the conclusion also comes because Vedas, 100,000 slokas of Veda, 80,000 are describing karma kanda, 16 are jnana kanda, 4 are upasana kanda or bhakti, whichever you take it. So this is the conclusion, which is the highest goal of life. And in the lesson, it starts with again based on the different levels of the people and desire of the people, different gradations are there. So first discussion on bhukti. So again, the understanding here is there's the sadhya and the sadhana. Sadhya is the goal, and sadhana is the process that is followed. So how sadhana and sadhya changes based on the evaluation or based on the frustration of that individual, and what is the final conclusion? Conclusion of the Vedas or final conclusion of the Shastra. This was the really goal. So it started with the bhukti. The goal is the material sense enjoyment in this life as well as the next life, and means are creative karmas. So as I just discussed that 80,000 slokas are describing about Vedas are bhukti. And when somebody says right from Brahma to the ant and the Brahma Loka to the Patal Loka, everybody thinks material world suffering is must. Jalmurtu, Jara, Vyadhi, everybody is suffering into that. So when somebody gets frustrated, he changes his goal. And Chalu Prabhuji articulate very nicely in a chain link. We'll just come back quickly. So let's see those three. So, when creative karma doesn't lead always to the best thing for a person, then he changes the goal. And then next is the mukti, gradual process. The goal is impersonal liberation, and means is speculative knowledge or jnana. So here also basically looks for impersonal liberation, and this doesn't really satisfy the soul because soul's eternal nature is Jiva Swarupa Nitya Krishna Dasa. So it doesn't satisfy. So next conclusion is bhakti. The goal is prema bhakti, the love of the Godhead, and the means is Nauda Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasham, Sakyam, Atmanivedam. Dasham Atmanivedam. So these are now the bhaktis and a goal is a prema bhakti. Now, so this is the chain, basically Prabhuji has mentioned that is one start at the lower level as a bhakti, and then when he's sadhana and sadhya. In this case, sadhana sadhya is a material sense enjoyment, and sadhana is basically as a creative karmas. So when he's frustrated, he moves to the next. So that means in this case, what happens? The sadhana and sadhya, the sadhya changes and it becomes a means for the next one. So gradually it goes to impersonal liberation in a mukti, but mukti there is no relishment, and then gradually moves to bhakti. So what conclusion is that as long as sadhana and sadhya, they are different, it goes through the chain, one after another, it follows, and there's no end result. When sadhana and sadhya becomes the same, and that happens in basically a bhakti, initially start with the Navda bhaktis and gradually, so the process, the sadhya is a prema bhakti or pure devotional service, and sadhana is a again bhakti. So as long as both are same, so that is the final conclusion. So this is different. Otherwise, one goes through a different process of there. So for that, two new characters are introduced here. One is the Vrijanath. He is coming from Nyaya. Basically, all logic and all that he builds. And so he's searching the truth, absolute truth, using that logic. And he's asking question to Raghunath Das Babaji, who is a contemporary of Raghunath Das Goswami Maharaj, as well as he is also Krishna's Kaviraj, so highly elevated souls, and discussion takes place. So different processes are discussed into this one, and final conclusion, again going back to the Vedas, where the Mahavakya and all those things starts, again, these are conclusions of impersonalists. They pick and choose what suits them, and they say the Mahavakya. There are 4 questions are primarily here. The conclusion of all the 4 questions is that what is the Mahavakya represent? So as per Vedas are concerned, there's nothing gradation, less more important. Mahavakya, they select it. Okay, for impersonal liberation, these are the Mahavakya. But as Prabhuji mentioned, the Om, basically referring to the Supreme Personality Godhead, a sound vibration of Lord. If somebody comes to that conclusion, then that is the really Mahavakya. Otherwise, all other conclusions are subservient to this Mahavakya. So again, one needs to look into the absolute whole, all different processes, and come to the conclusion. And the conclusion can be a bhakti, because in sadhana and sadhya both are the same. But for any other thing, whether it's a karma kanda, whether it's a jnana kanda, it has a changing force, and it doesn't take you to the final conclusion. So as long as we don't come to the final sadhana and sadhya to be the same. That is the one part. So there were 4 questions as I briefed on the above. The 5th question was very important, and that was did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wrote any book? And the answer to that, yes, he did the Siksha Astakam, that 8 slokas. Other than he didn't live, but he empowered 6 Goswamis to write about the philosophy, and the essence is bhakti, not a Gyan Kanda, not a Karma Kanda, but pure bhakti. Anna Abhilashita Shunam Jnana Karmadi Anartham. That is what Prabhuji mentioned to that. And so that is the conclusion of, that is the conclusion. So in nutshell, supremacy of Jnana Kanda, Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, or Bhakti. So Bhakti is supreme, and that was mentioned. So that was my understanding from the last class from Chauru Prabhuji. If I'm missing something, please correct me on that. I'll just stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Thus, we came to know that one cannot proceed in the, no one can attain any result without first pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. and mixed devotion, they are not the means for the individual spirit soul to regain his eternal status. With this, let us dive into the second portion of Jaiva Dharma today. Till now, we have studied 17 lessons covering chapters 1 to 12 under the heading The Fundamentals of Nitya and Naimittika Dharma. In the first portion of first division of Jaiva Dharma written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Now we'll be begin our journey from lesson 18 to 30, covering chapters 13 to 22, and lessons thereafter lessons 31 to 33, covering chapters 23 to 25, under the heading The Fundamentals of Sambandha, Avideya and Prayojana. In this, we'll also study Nama Tattva, Nama Paradha, and Nama Bhasa, which we have seen earlier, but we'll revisit them in our this series also. Now, here we'll see like on the top right side, lessons 18 to 20, that is this weekend. In these three lessons, we learn the evidence and truth and the Lord's potencies. Then lesson 21 is about the individual spirit souls. Then lesson 22, that is chapter 16, is the individual spirit souls conditioned by Maya, that is the Baddha Jiva. Then lessons 23 to 28, these 6 lessons, in lessons 17, 18, 19, 20, 4 lessons, they will cover the soul's freedom from Maya, that is chapter 17. Chapter 18 is Achintya Bheda Veda Tattva. Chapter 19 is Avideya Tattva, and 20 is Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Then thereafter, lesson 29, we learn about Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti. And thereafter, in 30, we learn about Prayojana Tattva. The balance we will give later. Then thereafter. Okay. Now, in detail, this is given in the slide. Lessons 18 to 20, chapters 13 and 14. Today we will be studying part of chapter 14, Dasamula Tattva. Basically, we have started with Dasamula Tattva today. DM stands from Dasamula Tattva. What is Dasamula Tattva? We will learn within a short time. This is evidence and truth. This is chapter 13, part of it. Then tomorrow we'll learn lesson 19, which will cover the balance of chapter 13 and some portion of chapter 14. In this, evidence, truth, and the Lord's potencies, they'll be discussed. And thereafter, the third session this weekend, will be studying the balance of chapter 14. In this, the Lord's potencies will be discussed. Now here, Brajanatha is asking questions to Raghunath Das Babaji, and in the chapter 17, he has already asked 5 questions. So the question series starts from question 6 onwards. Today we'll see the questions 6 to 23. In lesson 19, the questions 24 to 32, and the balance 33 to 55 we'll see in lesson 20. Let us go on to, well, this starts our thing today. Now, I have said that we are starting to discuss with the Dasamula Tattva. Dasamula, Dasa means 10, Mula means root, and Tattva means Dasamula Tattva means the 10 fundamental principles. or the 10 esoteric principles. And here we'll be learning about Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana. Now, a word about these three words, because it is very important to understand these three. You are already exposed to this, but I'll just summarize. Now, according to the Vedic principles, there are three stages of spiritual advancement, namely Sambandha Jnana, Abhideya Jnana, and Prayojana Jnana. Now, Sambandha Jnana refers to establishing one's original relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are actually originally related to Krishna, but somehow it has been forgotten over a period of time. We have to re-establish this. It is already there, but it has to be re-established because we have forgotten. Then Avideya refers to acting according to that constitutional relationship. That is what should be done to achieve. And Prayojana is the ultimate goal of life, which is to develop love of Godhead. Then if one adheres to the regulative principles under the orders of the spiritual master, he very easily achieves the ultimate goal of his life. A person who is addicted to the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra very easily gets the opportunity to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly. It is given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela. Now, what about Sambandha? We should know that, we should remember that Sri Sanatana Goswami is the Acharya of Sambandha, the process of understanding our relationship with Krishna. Now, the deity of Sambandha is Madan Mohan. By receiving the mercy of Radha Madan Mohan deity and by studying the writings of the Sambandha Acharya, Srila Sanatana Goswami, and revering Sanatana Goswami, a devotee will attain Sambandha Jnana or knowledge of one's spiritual identity and his eternal relationship with Krishna. Srila Prabhupada writes that Madan Mohan, Sanatana Goswami's deity, helps us to progress in Krishna consciousness. And then Avideya Jnana, Sri Rupa Goswami is the Acharya of Avideya and he reveals how to execute devotional service. And his deity of Radha Govindaji accepts service and gives inspiration for increasing surrender on the path of bhakti. And Prayojana Jnana, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami is our Prayojana Acharya. The Gopinath deity is Krishna as master and proprietor of the gopis, the surrendered, totally surrendered devotees. Now the Gopinath deity represents the Prayojana Tattva, that is the truth about life's ultimate goal, pure love of Krishna. And Raghunath Das Goswami accepts the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Goswami as his highest aspiration. And the Gaudiya Vaishnavas who follow strictly on the lines of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu worship the divinity by chanting transcendental sounds meant to develop a sense of one's transcendental relationship with the Supreme Lord, which is Sambandha, and a reciprocation of the mellows of mutual affection, that is Avideya, and ultimately the achievement of the desired success in loving service, that is Prayojana. And these three deities, Madan Mohan, Govindaji, and Gopinath, are worshipped in three different stages of one's development. And the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they follow this principle of approach. Now, if you ask me to tell what is Sambandha, Abhideya, and Prayojana in one line, then I'll say Sambandha is Jiver Swarapahaya Krishna Nitya Dasa. We are the eternal servants of Krishna. That is our Sambandha. What is the Abhideya? Bhakti, devotional service, loving devotional service. And what is Prayojana? To attain love of Godhead, love for Krishna. So we as servants of Krishna, by practicing bhakti or devotional service, which is favorable to him, will be able to attain love of Godhead. Now here in this slide, let us see what is given. What is happening on a evening time, Brajanatha, he goes to his guru, that is the Babaji there, Babaji Maharaj, to his Bhajan Kutira, and there he sat down on the raised platform under the dense foliage of the bakula tree and waited for the elderly Babaji Maharaj to come. And Babaji was actually waiting for him in the Bhajan Kutira. And Vatsalya Bhava had arisen in his heart towards Brajanatha. And as soon as a slight sound outside came, he knew that Brajanatha has arrived. Babaji Maharaj, he came out and lovingly embraced him and took him to his kutira. Then Brajanath, he was offered a seat there. He offered his obeisances to him. And then he asked him a question that last time you said that you would instruct me in Dasamula Tattva, the fundamental principle of Nimai Panditas, that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. Kindly bestow this knowledge unto me today. And what about Dasamula Tattva, the 10 pillars of the temple of Vedic truth erected by Bhakti Vinod Thakur? These are mined from the fertile fields of the Vedic literature by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. And they contain the whole gamut of Vedic knowledge. Therefore, every devotee should study and realize them for the successful practice and propagation of Krishna consciousness. And Dasamula Tattva is a central and concise work of Vaishnavism and the blueprint of Bhakti Vinod Thakur's blessed teachings. Now here we will be studying basically these 6 things. Detail will go later on. The Vedas teach that Lord Hari is the supreme truth. All the Vedas, they teach only this thing. And later on we'll learn that Lord Hari is not other than Lord Krishna. And then second, he has all potencies and he is an ocean of nectar of transcendental mellows. He has all the 6 potencies 100%, whereas others have got minute portions of that. And he is an ocean of nectar of all transcendental mellows, transcendental rasas. Then 3, the individual spirit souls, which are his parts and parcels, that is the jivas, they are divided into 2 groups. Some are conditioned by Maya, while the others, they are not. Those who are not conditioned, they are liberated. Then the 4th thing we'll learn, everything that exists is simultaneously one and different from him. This is the basic thing which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught. This we'll see in very great detail. That is known as Achintya Veda Veda Tattva, simultaneous difference and non-difference. Now then next we'll see the pure devotional service is the way to attain Lord Hari. There is no other path, not even karma or jnana or anything else, but only pure devotional service. And pure devotional service is not mixed with jnana and karma. This is the only way to reach the Supreme Lord. And finally, the goal of life is to love him. There is no other way. Then we go on to DM1, that is Dasamula Tattva 1, the first verse. The meaning is the self-evident Vedas. The Vedas are self-evident. One should not interpret them. One should read them as it is. But for your information today, we do not have 94% of the Vedic literature. We do not have. We have got only 6%. But whatever we have, we should not try to interpret them. We should read them in the eyes of our previous acharyas. Now the self-evident Vedas, which by Lord Hari's mercy are obtained from the disciplic succession, beginning with the demigod Brahma and which are accompanied by our sources of evidence, such as direct perception, are the evidence for the following 9 truths. Ordinary logic, called Tarka, has no power to enter a discussion of these truths. All these things we will see in greater detail slightly later. But please know that all these Vedic knowledge, they have to come in the disciplic succession only. And one cannot manufacture his own explanation. Like there are many people who write books, they write many things on their own, which are not based on the teachings of any of the previous acharyas. That we should ignore. There is no requirement to read any one of them. Now we'll straightway go to the details of this first verse. Now there is a beautiful slide which gives Dasamula Tattva the 10 roots representing the essential truths of Gaudiya Vaishnavism based on the teachings of Sri Chaitanya as delineated in Sri Jaiva Dharma chapters 13 to 22. Now you see the plant there and the roots of the plant. We'll talk about that a little before we go on to the 10 points which are given. Dasamula, that is the 10 fundamental truths, the esoteric truths. Now this summary has been obtained from the Back to Godhead article by Sri Satyaraj Dasa and another article by Sri Brajvasi Dasa, the entitled Dasamula, the 10 fundamental truths in the Journal of Vaishnava Studies. Now, please remember that this botanical metaphors, they are also sometimes used to convey the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. For example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself in the guise of his own devotee, explained how a spiritual seed, when planted in a person's heart by a qualified spiritual master guru, can grow into a vine of devotional service that ultimately produces the most valuable fruit of love for Godhead. He called it Bhakti Lata Bija, or the seed of the vine of devotion. This we have seen in very great detail earlier in our earlier course. And Mahaprabhu himself is known as the gardener of that vine, Bhakti Lata Bija. And the plant that grows in the rich soil of Krishna consciousness, it blossoms in into the ultimate goal of human life. And the metaphor here summarizes the whole of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings. And this was developed by the high-yielding pen of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who is considered as the 7th Goswami in the Gaudiya line. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur calls this philosophy Dasamula Tattva, meaning 10 roots. Mula means roots of truth, Tattva. The term Dasamula is used also in Ayurvedic medicine to refer to a group of 10 plants used for healing various diseases. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he explains these things very nicely here. Let us go one by one. The first point is Pramana Tattva, the various kinds of scriptural evidence as understood through disciplic succession indicated by the word Amanya. Now, Pramana means proof and evidence. Now, the teachings of the Vedas received through the Guru Parampara are known as Amanaya or Amanya. Now, the infallible evidence of the Vedas or the Smriti Shastras headed by Srimad Bhagavatam, as well as the evidence which are the direct sense perception, that is Pratyaksha, that concur with the guidance of the Vedas, they are accepted as evidence or Pramana. Now, this Pramana establishes the following Prameyas, that is the serials 2 to 8, they are known as Prameyas, the directly perceivable truths propounded and evidenced by Pramana, as they are designated as Prameya. Now, what are these? These are also the 8, they are the Sambandha Tattva. Now, first is the second serial is Parama Tattva, or the supreme truth. Bhagavan Sri Krishna Hari alone is the supreme absolute truth and nobody else. Sri Hari alone is the supreme truth and Hari is Sri Krishna. And in serial 3 we see Sarva Shaktiman, means Sri Krishna is the source and possessor of all energies, including Sri Radha, the spiritual energy, and Maya Devi, the material energy. That means Sri Krishna is the possessor of all potency, omnipotent. And the fourth is Akhila Rasamrita Sindhu. Sri Krishna is the ocean of all Akhila, Nectarian, Amrita, relationship, and sacred rapture, that is Rasa. That is, he is the ocean of Nectarian mellows. And it is a shoreless ocean of unlimited Nectarian mellows, and Lord Krishna has it and nobody else. Then in serial 5 we see Bibhinnamsa Tattva, that means both liberated and conditioned souls are his eternally separated and essential parts, as given in Bhagavad Gita, Mamaivansa Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. The jivas, they are eternally separated. Like the Jnanis, they say that they will merge with the Lord. There is no question of merging. The Lord has said here that the jivas, they are amsa. They are eternally fragmented portions of the Supreme Lord. That both the mukta, that is the liberated, and the baddha jiva, that is the conditioned jivas, are his eternally separated parts and parcels. Then the sixth is baddha jiva, the souls that are conditioned by Sri Krishna's illusory potency Maya. Now the baddha jivas, they are conditioned souls. They are subject to the control and covering of Maya. Now one may ask why they are conditioned by Maya. Because Maya will redirect them to Krishna in some point of time. Because we are not understanding the importance, that's why Maya is interfering. Either we take the name of Krishna and be freed from Maya, or we have to worship Maya. That means we have got two options, worship Maya Devi or worship Krishna. Either of the two we can do. Now, then the seventh is Mukta Jiva, or liberated souls, are free from Maya. They are totally free. Maya has no control over them. Maya cannot influence them. Then the eighth is Achintya Veda Veda Tattva. All existence in inconceivably one with and difference from the Supreme Lord in terms of his nature, in quality, but not in quantity. Like the individual soul and the supreme super soul, in quality they are the same, but they are different in quantity. That means they are same also and different also. That is what is known as Achintya Veda Veda Tattva. Like sun rays as opposed to the sun itself. The sun rays are also part of the sun only, but there is a difference. Now the entire universe consisting of the conscious, that is the chit, and the unconscious achit of Sri Hari's Achintya Vedaveda Prakasa, that is to say, it is his manifestation, which is inconceivably both different and non-different from him. Then we go on to serial 9, which is Avideya Tattva, or the activities in that relationship. Now, what is the way? It is Suddha Bhakti only, pure or unalloyed devotional service. The only practice by the living entity can attain the ultimate goal of life. Anya Vilasita Sunyam Jnana Karma Adi Anamritam. This is the only formula. There is no other formula, there is no other way. And this is known as Suddha Bhakti. Pure devotional service is the only practice to attain perfection. And then the last serial 10, this is Pravajana Tattva, or the true need of the living entities. Lord Sri Krishna's Preeti or transcendental love and affection for Krishna is the final object of attainment. Now, Krishna Preeti, the transcendental love and affection for Krishna or Krishna Prema is the one and the only thing or the final object for attainment of Krishna. And Swayam Bhagavan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, has here instructed these 10 distinct tattvas to the faithful jivas. The first of these is Pramana Tattva, and the remaining 9 are Prameya Tattva. And we have seen how Prameya Tattva, they are also divided into 3 groups. Now, from the 2nd to the 8th sloka, these are the Sambandha Tattva. And then the 9th sloka describes the Avideya Tattva, and the 10th one, the Prayojana Tattva. Now, the first principle represents and establishes the evidence and the bona fide source of information. And the 2nd to the 8th principles are the concepts of Sambandha as discussed in the Veda. Now, the 9th principle represents Avideya and the 10th as Prayojana. Now, let us see what happens next. Now we go on to the next slide. Here the question answer session starts. Now Brajanath is asking question number 7. Is there any Vedic evidence that Brahma taught his disciples? Babaji cites Mundaka Upanishad verses. Now Brahma, who is the first demigod, as we know, he is the first demigod, the creator of the secondary creator of the universe, the protector of the world, spoke knowledge of the Supreme, the first of all kinds of knowledge, to his eldest son, Atharva. Now, what he is asking, is there any evidence within the Vedas to show that Brahmaji gave the instruction through disciple succession? To this, Babaji, Maharaj Mahasaya is answering that yes, there is. In Mundaka Upanishad is part of Atharva Veda. It is stated that each Veda has 4 divisions. There are Samhitas, Aranyakas, Brahmanas, and Upanishads. And Brahmaji, who is the creator of the entire universe, was the first demigod to appear, and he gave all the instructions on the basis of this knowledge which he obtained from Supreme Lord Krishna to his eldest son Atharva. It is also stated further in Mundaka Upanishad that Brahma Vidya is the knowledge that reveals the true Swarupa of Param Brahma, who is also known as Purushottama. Now then, let us go on to question number 8. What Brajanath is asking, is there any evidence that when they wrote the Smriti Shastras, the sages gave the proper interpretation of the Vedas? That means, are the Smriti Shastras proper interpretation of the Vedas, explanation of the Vedas? Now, Babaji Mahasaya, he says, he cites a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 14th chapter, 3rd verse, where the Supreme Personality of Godhead is saying that by the influence of time, the transcendental sound of Vedic knowledge was lost at the time of annihilation. Therefore, when the subsequent creation took place, I spoke the Vedic knowledge to Brahma, because I myself am the religious principles enunciated in the Vedas. Now what happens? Lord Brahma, as you know, has got life of 100 days, and his one day, the daytime of 12 hours is 4.32 billion years, and the night is also same amount. Now you see, the Lord Krishna, he appeared here in this earth, material earth, 5,000 years back, and thereafter, by the time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, most of the things were lost. That's why he had to employ all his disciples to recover those sites and the various shastras also. And thereafter, what happened? After some time, they also started disappearing. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur came, and he had to again write books, and he had to again remind us that these things have been given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That means over a period of times the things get lost and they have to be brought again and again. And here you see 4.32 billion years when Lord Brahma goes to sleep, everything is lost, and then the Supreme Lord, that is Krishna, he again comes and gives this Vedic knowledge. That is what is given. This has to be understood by us. And just for your information, what is Shruti? Shruti and Smriti. Shruti are the Vedas. Smriti are the Puranas, and Itihasa. Itihasa means the Ramayana and Mahabharata. And thereafter, let us go on to the next thing. Yes, then comes the disciplic succession. What Brajanath is asking about disciplic succession. Disciplic succession from Brahma to the direct Brahma, the direct disciple of Vishnu. As we know, Vishnu or Lord Krishna, he gave his teaching to Lord Brahma himself. This we have seen in Gopal Tapani Upanishad in very great detail, that it was Krishna only, though in many places you will find it is written Narayana, but it is Krishna. Now let us hear the Guru Parampara in very brief, which is given in the slide. From, as we said, Krishna, then Brahma, and then Brahma's son Narada, from Narada to Vyasa, and then Vyasa to Madhavacharya. Now you may ask, Madhavacharya came in the 13th century, and Vyasadeva came about 5,000 years back. How it is? Now it is like this. Madhavacharya, when he appeared in the 13th century, he had gone to his place, that is Vyasa Gumpa, to meet Vyasadeva with his commentary on the Brahma Sutra, and there Vyasadeva gave him 3 idols of Shalagram, which the Acharya erected at Subramanya, Udipi, and Madhyatal. Now thereafter Padmanabha, Narhari, Madhava, Adokshaja, Jayatirtha, Janasindhu, Dayanidhi, Vidyanidhi, Rajendra, Jayadharma, Purushottama, Brahmanya Tirtha, Vyasa Tirtha, Lakshmipati, and Madhavendra Puri. Now I will tell you what happened after Madhavendra Puri. As we know, Ishwar Puri, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, etc. And from Ishwara Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami, Swarupadamodar Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Jaiva Goswami, all these Goswamis. And then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baladev Vidyabhusana, Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Gaurav Kishore Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, then Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, then our own spiritual masters, they are coming. Now, this is very, very important to remember, that all our knowledge is coming through this disciplic succession. And because it is coming in the disciplic succession, that's why it is authentic. Let us go on to the next slide. Now the question number 12. Why some kinds of evidence are more valuable than others? If direct perception and inference, they are not considered sources of evidence, then what kind of knowledge will one be able to get? Now the Babaji Mahasaya is saying that direct perception and other sources of evidence depend on material senses of the conditioned souls, but they are subject to the 4 defects. The Supreme Personality of Godhead revealed from within the hearts of the sages the Vedic knowledge so that it can be accepted as the truth. Now, what are the 4 defects? Please explain the 4 defects. He is asking. The 4 defects are Brahma, Pramada, Vipralipsa, and Karnapatava. Now we'll study, we'll know each one of them in slightly greater detail. Brahma means what? Mistakes. Mistakes due to imperfect senses. Our senses are imperfect. Like eyes cannot see the great distances. We cannot see from India, we cannot see any other country from here. We cannot see even the ocean while we are in the plains. Like this, all our senses, with our ears, we cannot hear everything. That's why the senses, they are imperfect. Then the second is pramada or illusion. Limited material intelligence is bound to be illusion, because we have got limited material evidence, material intelligence. We are always illusion. Then third is vipralipsa or cheating propensity. The propensity of cheating because of doubts by the conditioned souls. Because they do not have all the knowledge, they are always doubtful. That's why they will assume something and they will say something. That's why they cannot be believed. And the fourth one is karna patwa, or the sensory inefficiency. Perceptually, making mistakes because of sensory inefficiency. Now, the next question Brajanath is asking, don't the sensory perception and the other sources of knowledge have any value at all? Are they totally useless? Now, Babaji Mahasaya is answering them. He says these sources of knowledge do not allow to fathom the spiritual world, for which the Vedic knowledge remains the only reliable source. That is, regarding the spiritual world, only the Vedic knowledge is useful, not this material knowledge at all. But only sense perception and other source of such knowledge confirm the truth revealed in the Vedas, then this can be accepted. That means if they comply with what is given in the Vedas, then they are to be believed. Otherwise, not. On their own, they cannot be believed because there is deficiency in them. And the 15th question is, aren't the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and the other like scriptures of knowledge, they should be relied on or not? Now, Babaji Mahasaya is saying that these scriptures do constitute the Vedic knowledge. They are part of the Vedas, because the Vedas, they are described in these Puranas. That's why Puranas, they are also Vedic literature. And so the verses of Dasamula Tattva, they are also Vedic, because they have been given by none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the Tantra Shastras say that they are only in the Sattva Guna, and the Pancharatras, they expand the confidential portions of the Vedas. That means they are also the Vedic literature and they have to be believed. That means if only sense perception and the other such knowledge confirm the truth revealed in the Vedas, then this should be accepted. Otherwise, they should not be accepted, because they have got so many other mistakes in it, which we have seen. Let us go on to the next slide. Question number 16. Among the Vedas that consist of many different books, which one should be accepted? Now, he is saying, Babaji Maharaj is saying, that only those that are accepted by the acharyas of the bona fide disciplic succession should be considered the actual Veda. That means they should come in the disciplic succession, and whatever has been accepted by the acharyas, they are the ones we should accept them and nothing else. Because they have rejected, what they have rejected are the ones that unscrupulous men interpolated them over a period of time. What is happening in this Kali Yuga, there are very many unscrupulous people. They misinterpret the Vedic literature and they write something and put up as Vedic literature, but these are not accepted by our acharyas in the disciplic succession. That's why they should be totally rejected. Then question number 17. What books of the Vedas have the acharyas accepted? Now, this is very important. here it is cited that 12 Upanishads. Now the Isha Upanishad of the Shukla Yajurveda, Kena Upanishad of Samaveda, Katha Upanishad of Krishna Yajurveda, Prashna Upanishad of Atharva Veda, Mundaka Upanishad of Atharva Veda, Mandukya Upanishad of Atharva Veda, Taittiriya Upanishad of Yajurveda, this is Krishna Yajurveda. Then Aitareya Upanishad from Rig Veda, Chandogya Upanishad from Samaveda, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad from Shukla Yajurveda, Shetasvetara Upanishad from Krishna Yajurveda, Gopal Tapani Upanishad from Atharva Veda, Nrsimha Tapani Upanishad from Atharva Veda. Then the Brahmanas, the Mandalas, and other portions of the four Vedas, they are to be accepted. That means the Acharyas, they have also accepted the Brahmanas. Brahmanas are the and the mandalas are the books as Vedic literature, as long as they expand the Vedas, and this has to be understood by us. And then question number 18, what is the proof that material logic has no power to understand spiritual logic? Now the spiritual truth cannot be understood by material logic. This is given in many shastras, but here we will give the example of a few only. It is given in Kathopanishad. Then transcendental topics cannot be understood by argument or logic. It is given in the Vedanta Sutra, and anything transcendental to material nature is called inconceivable, whereas arguments are all mundane. Since mundane arguments cannot touch transcendental subject matters, one should not try to understand transcendental subject matters through mundane arguments. This is given in the Bhishma Parva of Mahabharata. That's why it is very authentic. Next, we'll go for a 5-minute break now. Now, due to some technical reason, the clock is not working in my computer. I'll remind you after 5 minutes. Hare Krishna.
About Puji, doing pretty good. Good job.
But it is so vast.
It's a lot of material. Yeah.
Yes. We are just giving a very fraction of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome back. We'll go next slide. Now, Brajanatha has been asking the questions. Now, at this stage, he says, Babaji Maharaj, I have fully understood that Veda is everything. The knowledge that is Swata Siddha, that is self-evident. And some logicians, they argue against the Vedas, but their efforts are totally fruitless. Now, please be merciful and explain me the second sloka of Dasamula Tattva. Now, here in this slide gives the, in brief, what is given in the second verse of the Dasamula Tattva. This is question number 19. Now, here, 6 things are very, very important to remember. Lord Hari is the only supreme truth. Brahma, Shiva, and Indra, they bow down to him. That means Lord Hari, we have learned earlier that he is Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is the supreme absolute truth. There should be no doubt in anybody's mind. Others may think somebody else, something else. But we in the Gaudiya Vaishnava system, we should know that Lord Krishna, Lord Hari is the supreme truth, and all other demigods, they bow down to him. Then the second is the impersonal Brahman, which is completely untouched by matter, is the effulgence of his transcendental form. Later on, a question will come on this. What is saying? What effulgence we see? The impersonal Brahman is the effulgence of his transcendental form. That means the Jnanis, they go up to this effulgence only. They do not see what is beyond that. Beyond that is Krishna, but that is not visible to them. But this is what it is. In the next question, things will be more clear. Then the all-pervading supersoul is his expansion. Regarding this also, there is a question. When we go through that, things will be more clear. Then the fourth is, he is the father of the material universes. All the material universes which are created by a portion of Lord Krishna, actually he is the father. And he is the lover of Sri Radha. This we know very well, very much clear in our so many courses. And his form is splendid like a dark monsoon cloud, and he is completely spiritual. We know his form, and we know that he is totally spiritual. Now let us go to the next question of Brajanatha. Now Brajanatha answers Babaji. Babaji answers Brajanatha's question 20. The Upanishads teach that the impersonal Brahman is the highest truth and is beyond the touch of matter. And why then does Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu affirm that it is the effulgence of Lord Hari's body? Now this is the doubt he has. Now Babaji Mahasaya, he answers it in 8 points. We'll start one by one. The Supreme Lord, Lord Krishna or Lord Hari is full of wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, renunciation, and all the 6 opulences. This is given in the Vishnu Purana. Now these 6 opulences, they are interrelated like the limbs of a body. They are not haphazard. We will see how they are interrelated. Tree is the body, and the branches are the limbs. If you take the whole tree, this is the body, and the branches are the limbs. Now the whole form is the body, and the hands and feet are included amongst the limbs. Now Sri Krishna's handsomeness is the body, and the other opulences are the limbs. That means Krishna's body is very, very handsome, and all other things, they are the limbs. Now wealth, strength, fame, they are the 3 limbs. Now the effulgence of fame consists of knowledge and renunciation. Please understand this point. Then Brajanatha's question will be very, very clear, and the answer will also be very clear. What Babaji Maharaj is saying, wealth, strength, and fame are three limbs. And now the effulgence of fame consists of knowledge and renunciation. Now these two, that is knowledge and renunciation, are the effulgence of one of the limbs. Now they are the opulence of an opulence, and but not the direct opulence themselves. Now knowledge of changeless spirit and renunciation of matter are the parts of the body of the impersonal Brahman, which is the effulgence emanating from the spiritual worlds. Now the unchanging, inactive, formless, qualityless Brahman is not the independent highest truth. It is the form of Bhagavan Sri Krishna that is the independent highest truth. Now, this is very, very important to remember, to understand. I'll repeat, the unchanging, inactive, formless, qualityless Brahman. Brahman is total qualityless, formless, like this, is not the independent highest truth. The highest truth we know from Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti sabdate. Out of that, Bhagavan is the highest truth. And it is the form of Bhagavan Sri Krishna that is the independent and highest truth. Now the light of a fire is not independent, but the fire itself that is independent, and the light is merely one of the fire's qualities. That's why the effulgence coming from Sri Krishna is Brahman. This is how it has been described here by Babaji Mahasaya. I hope this is understood. Then we will go to the next slide with a very, very beautiful photograph in it. You see Radha and Krishna, they are sitting there, and Radharani is seeing her face through the mirror. The mirror is totally transcendental. But please remember, Radharani does not use this mirror always, all the time, because she is very, very fearful. If Krishna ever looks at the mirror, he will get bewildered himself, because he does not know how beautiful he is. So with this, let us see what is the question 21 and what is the answer. In many places in Vedas, after the impersonal Brahman was described, the text declared Om Shanti, 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 Hari Om, in the way the Vedas affirm the superiority of Hari, who is Lord Hari. He is asking, who is Lord Hari? Now, the question is, in other way, the impersonal nirvishesha qualities of Brahma are described in many places of the Vedas, and at the end of the description, the mantra Om Shanti Shanti Hari Om is used to describe. Then who is this Sri Hari? That Sri Hari is in fact Chit Leela Mithuna, or the combined form of Radha and Krishna, who performs divine pastimes in this spiritual world. Let us go on to the next question, question number 22. Now Babaji Mahasaya answers Brajanatha's question 22. What expansion of Bhagavan Sri Krishna is the super soul, the Paramatma, the father of material universes? Now here what is being described in the 6 points. With his two opulences of wealth and strength, Bhagavan created the material world of Maya, following which he expanded himself as Vishnu and entered in it. Each expansion is perfect and complete. As you know from Lord Krishna, the first expansion is Baladeva. And from Baladeva, the first Chaturbiha, that is Vasudeva, Sankarsana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. And from Sankarsana came Narayana. From Narayana came the second Chaturbiha, that is Vasudeva, Sankarsana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. Then from the second Sankarsana came the Karanadaksai Vishnu, from Karanadaksai Vishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, from Garbhodakshai Vishnu, the Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. That means the complete creation has been done by Karandakshayi Vishnu, which is a portion of the Supreme Lord. But all of them, they are perfect and they are complete, because it is given in two Upanishads. Om Purnamida Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasichyate. That is, the personality of Godhead is perfect and complete, and because he is perfect and complete, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, even this material world, they are perfectly equipped as a complete whole. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. And because he is the complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. He remains in complete balance. This is given in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, as well as it is the first verse in the Isopanishad also. They are very, very clear. That means even if Lord Krishna, he gives away his everything, whatever he has, which he gives to his devotees, still then he is complete. And in day-to-day life, we can give an example of when we offer the prasad to the Supreme Lord in his temple, in our homes also. After some time, when we get back, the same amount of things they remain. Because even if he has eaten, still then it is complete, because that is totally transcendental, that is not material after that. Then the next fourth point is the super soul is Lord Vishnu, who manifests in three forms: Karanadakshayi Vishnu or Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, and Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, that we said. Then Karana Ocean, which is also known as Viraja River, lying in the boundary that separates the spiritual and the material worlds. Karanadakshayi Vishnu or Mahavishnu goes and reclines on the Karana Ocean, and then he glances at Maya or Durga Devi from far away to create the material world. Then Mahavishnu expands himself as Garbhodakshayi Vishnu and enters the material world, rather each universe. Then the particles of light that constitute Mahavishnu's glance are the conditioned spirit souls. Into the heart of each conditioned soul, Kshirodakshayi Vishnu or Hiranya Garbha, the expansion of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, enters as the super soul in the form of the size of a thumb. Both the super soul and the individual spirit soul, they reside in the heart. In us, there are two souls actually, not one. It is given in the Svetasvatara Upanishad. And therefore, the super soul who creates, enters and protects and controls the material world is expansion of Bhagavan. Let us go on to the next slide. In the next slide, we'll see the question number 23 of Brajanatha. This is the last question. What is the proof that Bhagavan Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Now, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has all opulences and sweetness eternally. And when his opulence is manifested, only opulence, then he is Narayana, the origin of Mahavishnu for the creation and maintenance of the material universe. And when his pastimes or sweetness gets manifested, he is Vrindavan Krishna or Braja Krishna, because he alone possesses the highest limit of sweetness, the 64 qualities. We'll learn about them tomorrow in the next class. And the effulgence of his sweetness is so great that it eclipses all opulences that exist anywhere. This is how he is greatest. And then in Rig Veda, it is given, I have seen certain Gopa dressed in colorful garments and accompanied by many beautiful girls as he wanders the pathways in the spiritual world. That same Gopa again and again enters the material worlds and stays in the hearts of the living beings. This is given in Rig Veda. That means he is none other than Krishna only. Now the next point, to attain Sri Radha, I surrender to Sri Krishna and vice versa. It is given in Chandogya Upanishad. That means if you want to attain Sri Radha, you surrender to Krishna. If you want to attain Krishna, then surrender to Sri Radha. And in many other places also, in Narada Upanishad also, very clearly it is said, Krishna says that if you want to attain me, there is no other way but take shelter of Radha only. That is what is so important. And all the above mentioned incarnations are either planetary portions or portions of the planetary portions of the Lord. But Bhagavan Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. It is given in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.28. There is a very famous verse, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. And we have heard about this many, many times. And as we discussed, all the emanations, that is all the expansions, they are also equally powerful and equally potent. Like if somebody thinks that Narayana, he cannot lift the Govardhana hill, that is not correct. He can also lift, but it is not in his charter. That's why it is done by Lord Krishna only. Now, last point is Bhagavan Krishna is the worshipable, all-pervading, supreme controller, and although he is one, he manifests in many forms. It is given in Gopal Tapani Upanishad. And Bhagavan Krishna is worshipable, all-pervading, supreme controller, and although he is one, he manifests in many forms. There are so many forms of him, but he is one only. This has to be understood by us. Well, with this, I come to an end of today's session. Now the session is open for questions, answers, comments, everything. Now, please remember that there is actually a large amount of material to be covered. What examples we gave, one or two, there are many given by Bhakti Vinod Thakur, but within this short time frame, it is not possible. That's why it will be better if you study these things after the class, then the understanding will be far better. And more difficult concepts, they are also coming in due course of time, and they are a little difficult to understand. That's why if you read them earlier, then it will be very easy to understand, and also be very, very attentive while attending the class. Hare Krishna, thank you very much for listening to me. Now we'll discuss about any point which comes from you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. As you mentioned, we need really attention. We need to read because a lot of material you covered, a lot of in the beginning, 3 forms of Lord Krishna and Abhiday, Sambandh and Prayojan you described many. I think we need time to digest a lot of things covered. My only question, Prabhuji, is that I'm trying to recatch and understand Upanishad. So 12 Upanishads are mentioned, and these Upanishads are coming from different Vedas, 4 Vedas, and some of the Upanishads saying that this Upanishad belong to the Vedas. Is that coming there, or that is how it is there?
Okay, there are actually if I remember, 1132 Upanishads. Out of these Upanishads, they are from the Vedas only. These 4 Vedas, Rug, Yajur, Sama, Atharva. Out of them, 108 are important. And out of that, I cited these 12 which are given by Bhakti Vinod Thakur. These are very, very important Upanishads. So this is what it is. They are given in the Vedas only. That is a portion of the Veda. They are called Upanishads, and there are many, many Upanishads in any Veda. But now, as I said, given by Jiva Goswami in his Tattva Sandarbha, these Vedas, they are almost extinct, because when the invaders in earlier times they came to India, their first thing was to burn all these books, the Vedic literature. And that's why a lot have been burned, a lot have been destroyed, but whatever remains, that is also quite a bit. We are not able to understand those also. And all these Upanishads, they are part of the Vedas, all are not existing today. Even all the Puranas, they are not there today. Every Purana is not there, they are getting extinct. And if you read Srimad Bhagavatam 12th canto, a time will come about 10,000 years later that none of these things will exist. Only Srimad Bhagavatam will be there and Tulasi Maharani will be there. The temples will not be there, the deities will not be there, things will be very, very bad. And what is going to happen after 4,32 years, 32,000 years, that is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Actually, that is the inspiration for us. We should try our best to take the name of the Lord, chant and do sadhu sangha, so that we are saved from this calamity. There is no other way, because we have gone through in our so many lives earlier, and now that we have understood that this is what is right, and if we render devotional service, loving devotional service to Lord Krishna, then he will be able to help us. Actually, he is waiting to get a chance to find a plus point in us, so that he brings all of us to him. He is waiting for that. We should give him a chance. That's why we should always try to keep him satisfied. And he is always satisfied by loving devotional service and nothing else. And in that, the most important, we should chant the name of the Lord, name of Krishna, that is the Mahamantra, as taught by in our Guru Parampara, and Sadhu Sangha. That means we should not leave the Sadhu Sangha which we are in now. We should read Srimad Bhagavatam, we should read Bhagavad Gita, and we should not indulge ourselves in all those unnecessary things which are not required, and should indulge in the material activities to the extent required. That is also required. Otherwise, we cannot stay in this world. You have to do those activities also, but there should be to the minimum. But we should always remember the Lord. If we can practice that, so that our test is when we are going to die. That time, if we are remembering, not chanting, chanting is not possible, because all the senses, they will become important total. They will not be able to do anything. Only in our mind, if we can remember the Lord, then the work is done, then the job is done. We have passed the examination. Our examination is at the time of death only, and not during while we are living. And at that time, please remember, we cannot chant the name of the Lord. That's why anybody who is about to die, if we are there, please chant the name, Lord's name loudly, because the ears, they are hearing. That person will be able to hear. There is no doubt in that, because yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Prabhuji,
somebody has
excuse me, just wait. Prabhuji, Sharad Prabhuji, it's my humble request to you, because we have so limited time, even though we try our best endeavor to give 30 full minutes for discussion. So, try not to dwell too out of the questioner's question, and give direct answers. Because if you give on and on explanation, there is peripheral interest to the question, then one loses that. So another thing, let others also give an opportunity.
Okay,
We have a limited time. So directly answer to the question that the person is asking, right
Okay.
directly. Okay.
Okay, Prabhuji.
That's my humble request. Okay, Prabhuji?
Oh,
So
thank
that
you.
other people also will have a chance to ask
Yes.
question. Because then only one question, if you go on and on, then others will be deprived of that opportunity.
Next question, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
So wonderful class, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I am little confused between Das Mula Tattva and Das Mul. Both are same or different, Prabhuji?
Okay.
Question number 19 and question number 6.
Okay, I'll tell you. The Dasamula Tattva means 10 esoteric truths or fundamental truths. We have discussed 1 to 10. And how Dasamula means the roots of the plant, that is how it has been explained. This is the way Bhakti Vinod Thakur has explained, and that tattva is known as Dasamula Tattva. There is the 10 esoteric principles. First one is Pramana, the 9 are Prameya. This is what it is.
Please, Prabhuji, define what is Pramana and Prameya.
Okay. I'll just tell you what is Pramana and what is Prameya. Pramana means what is proved. Now, the proof is given in the first sloka, that is the initial sloka, which starts, we have not given the sloka, but the meaning has been given. The first one is proof, that is the Pramana Tattva. The various kinds of Vedic literature, Vedic scriptures, which have been received in the disciplic succession, that is the proof. That is what is the Pramana. And Prameya is the directly perceivable truths which are evidenced by Pramana. They are designated as Prameya. Then the Prameya, these 9, they are thereafter divided into Sambandha, Avideya and Prayojana. That means this Pramana is teaching of the Vedas received through the Guru Parampara. This is what is the Pramana. This is the proof. And the other things, Sambandha, Avideya, Prayojana, this we have seen in detail, the 3 things. I hope this is clear.
Yes,
Hare
sir.
Krishna, Prabhuji. Let me make this point clear. I think Rakshamata is asking a very important question, and the straight answer, shortest possible answer, and to the point, Pramana, as Prabhuji explained, is really the evidence of proof you give, undeniable proof, okay? And that is Shabda Pramana, the Vedas, okay? And Prameya, so there is a Pramana means the evidence you are giving to arrive at the truth. Prameya, what you're trying to prove, what you learn from this scriptural evidence, Shabda Pramana, the 10 truths that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives fundamental definition, fundamental explanation of the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, that what is the contribution of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur? He actually extracted from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching the 10 truths. The 10 truths, those are like the roots, the very foundation of the entire philosophy. And that Prameya, that is came out by that scriptural proofs, evidence. So that's a short and the direct answer.
And Prabhuji, Dasmul means it is the definition of the Dasmul. Question number 19.
Yeah, the Dasamula,
Yes.
as Prabhuji explained nicely, they're like the roots. The tree is there, okay, and the lot of branches, leaves, and everything's there. Fruit is coming out, but ultimately, all this thing, where does it come? The tree grows from its roots. So these are the 10 fundamental roots of the entire Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, the essence of the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually gave the essence that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, his contribution is that he extracted from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings this 10 roots, 10. So that's why that's a mula. The mula means the extreme, the origin of it. That's what it is. Am I answering you, Shiksha your question?
Yes, yes,
You're asking
Prabhuji.
something else.
No, Prabhuji, बराबर समझ में आ गई.
Thank you. Very good.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Prabhuji. Hare
Prabhuji,
Krishna.
go ahead.
Next question.
Let everybody gets an opportunity, please.
Yes, yes.
Let everybody gives as many people as possible. Hare Krishna. Go ahead, please. Please feel free. Because that's why I directed Sarath Prabhuji. So we get a direct answer, and then more people can participate. Because we have limited time, very limited time.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
So, Prabhuji, this was regarding the last point in the last slide, wherein you say that Lord Krishna is the supreme controller, but he manifests in different forms. So now, if a person is inclined to a certain form of the Lord, will he reach the ultimate destination? Because you said that Lord is perfect and he is complete, and Purnamidam Purnamida Purnartha Purnamagachyate. So, but when we saw in Gopakumar's case in Gopal Tapni Upanishad, till the time he reached Golok Vrindavan, he was not satisfied. So, my question is, if one surrenders to one of the forms of the Lord, will he reach the destination, or his journey till the time he reaches Golok Vrindavan, only then his journey will be complete? So I'm talking of the the journey of the soul. When will it get complete?
Okay, thank you, Mataji. This is a very, very good question. The answer can
very intelligent question. Intelligent questions.
Yes, and the answer can be very complex also. But the direct answer is, what is our requirement? Gopakumara wanted to interact with Krishna, and he went to all those places we have learned, but he was not happy, and finally he could get that. Like that, what is our intention? What is our set of mind? We want to serve the Supreme Lord. Now, as given in the Vedic literature, if you root the tree, then all the branches, the leaves, everybody gets the water. And as we know, Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam, that's why we are saying, in Gaudiya Vaishnava system, we are worshipping Radha Krishna, the Supreme Lord. But you were asking, if somebody say worships Balrama or Karandaksai Vishnu or Garbhodaksai Vishnu or Hirodaksai Vishnu, will he also go to the supreme destination? Yes, but it will take time. It may take time, the process may be longer, but yes, like somebody who is say worshipping the Lord Shiva, he will also go to the destination, but that is a long way. The direct way, you follow Krishna. Have I answered your question? I'll request Charu Prabhuji to say something, because this is a very complex question and the answer is also equally complex.
You can give a whole lecture on that question. But you gave a nice short answer and direct answer. The example that you gave, and Prabhupada gives that example, that if you water the roots of a tree, then all the branches, all the sub branches, leaves, everything gets nutrients, but you cannot just water the branches, leaves, and all things like that. So here also, the root of everything is Lord Shri Krishna. So if you satisfy, if you please him, if you serve him, everything that what you desire, and that even that you're not yet desired, and what you need to get it, Krishna knows what we need, that, and he will provide that. So that is what the direct answer Prabhuji gave already. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
And very nice, intelligent question, Samita Mataji. I admire that.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat.
Any other points? And Prabhuji, I wanted to make some final remarks. If you can give me last 5 minutes, okay?
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. Any other question?
Is Nitya Sakhi Mataji is there today?
No, I don't think.
Acha, okay. Archana Mataji is there?
Prabhuji,
Yes.
question number 18. Lord Hari is the combination of Sri Radha and Sri Krishna. Brajanatham is asking the question, who is Hari? So this is the Prabhuji, तो दोनों का combination है. मतलब शक्ति और शक्तिमान साथ में ही है. उसका मतलब यही हुआ ना, हरि का मतलब.
Yes, like we have already discussed in our Radha Tattva class how Radha came in. Radha emanated from Krishna. There is no difference between Radha and Krishna. Radha is Krishna and Krishna is Radha. That's why there is no difference. That means Hari is
So
Radha.
combination is a combination.
Yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Radha Krishna.
They are inseparable and yet separate.
That is
They are
the
inseparable, indistinguishable.
that is the Achintya Vedaveda Tattva.
Yes, Prabhuji.
And we are lesson 20. You are going to learn a little bit more about that. Okay, that question.
Hare
Any-
Krishna Prabhuji.
Any other question?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for a wonderful class. There was this, when you were explaining, there was this statement that if one wants to attain Krishna, then they need to surrender to Radharani. And one wants to attain Radharani, then they need to surrender to Krishna. But what happens to devotees who want to attain both of them? So do they surrender to Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Like how do we understand this point, Prabhuji?
Well, to my understanding, if you surrender to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you will attend them. If you surrender to Radharani, you will attend them. If you surrender to Krishna, you will attend them. There is no doubt. You can surrender, but surrender to somebody is that is the requirement.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you. That's what I just wanted to ask. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Charu Prabhuji,
That course we just did it recently by Jagadananda Prabhu, the childhood confidential associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jagadananda Prabhu. What did he say in that book? Exactly, that if you really worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the combination, Krishna himself is there, but in the mood of Srimati Radharani, then you get that just one stone, you get the two hours, like that. Everything you get. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are very, very fortunate. We are in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's. And again, the question somebody else asked in one little bit more, one more point about I forgot who question was asked. Let's continue because the time is short. We'll talk about it other time.
any other question? I think others can, if somebody has any question, you can ask tomorrow. Charu Prabhuji, you wanted to say something.
Yeah. I've been always endeavoring to encourage you and really with the critical thinking. Critical thinking is the first. When you have critical thinking, then you'll read critically. And then later on, when you are writing something, you will write critically, So critical understanding. So here, let me ask you, the way Brajanath is asking question, do you notice something special? If you think about critically read, you should have noticed that. The questions that he's asking and how he is again, I might answer the question right myself. I want to give the opportunity to all of you. Did you find something odd about it? Anybody?
Prabhuji, is it referring to the impersonal, because he was again and again going to how he is supreme and prove it, like coming with the impersonal and trying to,
You got it,
question.
Prabhuji. You hit right away. You hit the head. You hit the head of the nail right away. See, he look at his background. He was a born Brahmana, and he was trained in logics. So and the impersonal Brahman realization, all these questions we see, and remember, he is now going to continue asking questions all the way to the end of the book, and then his uncle will join also later on. And how the Babaji here, Raghunath Das Babaji, is trying to pierce through his dogmatization. We all have the same problem when we are dogmatized, how we brought up ourselves, our background, that really affects going to learn. So Prabhupada is to say that when you want to learn something important, the old misconceptions has to be removed. So on a slate, in the olden ways, when the kids used to study in the kindergarten, the early school, we were in India given a slate. Nowadays, the kids don't get that. But in my time, at least, I also had a slate. So in order to write on the slate, first you need to wash off the previous thing, misconception. Then you put new things. So you'll notice that this Vrajanath Prabhu is asking question from that particular bias mind he had, the way he was trained and all this thing. He was from the impersonal school about that. Logics was there and everything. And how when he came into touch, first of all, he contacted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he was breathing day and night, just logics only. And then he heard Nimai Pandit was the greatest logician ever came into existence. So he was attracted to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then, but when he actually came in contact with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he realized he lost all interest in logics, and he came to realize, came to the bhakti platform, and all these things it happened. So Babaji is also, so even that coming all this thing, he forgot logic, he came to bhakti platform, he came and approached Raghunath Babaji and accepted him as a spiritual master. But the old things are very difficult to get washed off, to remove, to erase those things. So Babaji, if you see the way he's answering his questions, is slowly erasing his old misconceptions. By the end of the book, you'll see that a lot of questions he's asking from an impersonalist view of you, impersonal Brahman realization. He's asking all things, then what is the use of Brahman realization? All this asking. And Babaji slowly, methodically, systematically, he's removing his old concept with powerful arguments, because he was a logician. A good teacher will always use the same weapon, same background of the questioner, and then he will make him understand properly. So this is the one thing I wanted you to notice, that in this very beginning, first lesson of this Dasamula Tattva, one of the most important topic in Sri Jaiva Dharma, and I assigned this thing to Sharad Prabhuji after a great deal of deliberation on my part, and he's doing fantastic job, assisted with my slides. And remember, in the book itself, this book is not easy to grasp, to extract the tattvas, the basic points. You have to read very, very carefully. A lot of experience is required, and to extract it, all these descriptive pages and pages of descriptive material. You notice how I prepared the slide. I just extracted the essence of it, and then it's easier to understand and easier to for Sharad Prabhuji to give a class, deliver a class. So you have to understand, to learn. In fact, that is what I requested all of you. I gave series of classes also to my teammates, how to grasp the essence of a given chapter. Unless and until you come up with the themes and define the boundaries, you cannot prepare PowerPoints. You see all these effective PowerPoints that you all admire so much is because of the lot of hard work, time spent, so much determination comes into play, and I will address that. And I'm sure Prabhuji was going to tell you about that, the meeting I requested for that. Satyaji, go ahead now.
Yes. Charu Prabhuji wants to have a meeting with the teammate. All others can also attend. We can have it tomorrow or day after, that is Saturday or Sunday. Then which will be the convenient? Sanjeev Prabhuji, which will be convenient to you? Prasad Prabhuji, which will be convenient to you? Or you can give a thought, tell me tomorrow, or there is no other alternative but to have on Sunday after the class.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, which is your preference?
Yeah, I'm okay for Sunday, Prabhu. If everyone is okay.
Sunday.
Okay for Sunday, Prabhu.
And Samta Mataji?
Prabhuji, tomorrow, because Sunday we have seva in the temple, so 7:30 we'll have to leave. So tomorrow is feasible for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay for tomorrow as well. Not a problem. Yeah.
Okay, Sanjeev Prabhuji, I have spoken. He is okay for tomorrow or even Sunday. There is no problem. Then tomorrow we can have after the class. Anybody else who wants to be present, they are also most welcome. So with this, we'll conclude today's class with the Nrsimha prayers. I'll request Lalit Priya Mataji to do the Nrsimha prayers, please. Lalit Priya Mataji, are you listening? Okay.
Samta Mataji.
Okay.
Samta Mataji.
Samta Mataji.
Ji Hare Krishna. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladadadaine. Praladadadaine. Hiranyakashipurvaksha. Hiranyakashipurvaksha. Shilatankanakalaye. Shilatankanakalaye. Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha. Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha. Yato yato yami tato Narsimha. Yato yato yami tato Narsimha. Ai Narsimha Hridaye Narsimha. Ai Narsimha Hridaye Narsimha. Narasimhamadim Sharanam Prapatye. Narasimhamadim Sharanam Prapatye. Tamakara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Jaya Jagadish Hare Tavakara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam केशवधृता नरहरिरूप जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव 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 जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much. Thank you all the devotees for attending the class. We will have the class at the same time tomorrow, that is Indian time 5:30. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, all glories to Srimad Bhagavatam, all glories to all the devotees present here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण
Thank you very much.
थैंक यू प्रभु
हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna to all devotees. Mataji, Guruji, all devotees. Pranam.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased the way you presented. Wonderful. Keep it up.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Hari Bol, Prabhuji.
Hari Bol.